What's going on, everybody? Noah from Stage 3 Motorsports here, and today I'm going to show you a quick install on these Grimm Offroad hood hinge light brackets for the F-150. A quick note before we get started, I'm going to just focus on the installation of the brackets themselves, and I won't go too much into the wiring or the lights because these are fairly universal, so depending on what light you have and what kind of harness or switch you want to run, it will vary a little bit, but for the sake of our install, we're throwing on the new Morimoto 4-banger pod lights. They're a combo beam, so it should be a pretty nice fit on this truck, but with all that out of the way, let's get right into the install. The first thing you'll want to do is mount your pod lights to the brackets before we take them over to the truck. It just makes it a little easier to get underneath and attach everything. Now, as you can see, we've got the Morimoto 4-bangers here, which is their newest off-road pod, but depending on what you have, you'll probably end up with a carriage bolt similar to this. So as you can see, I went ahead and attached the bracket. On the 4-bangers, you'll need to use a T30 Torx bit to tighten this up, and then with that bolt, we can drop it through the hole that's already drilled into the Grimm bracket. And then from there, we'll add the washer that came with it, as well as this little nylock nut. And then we'll just snug this down with a 17mm socket. Once again, depending on what pod light and what hardware you have, it may be a different size, but we'll get it tight enough that we can still adjust it. And then if we want to make adjustments on the truck, we can go in and torque it down with a wrench once we're finally done and have everything complete. All right, there we go. Go ahead and pop the hood on your truck, and we're going to start on the driver's side here, but it'll be the same process for the passenger side as well. And the first thing I like to do is take a little bit of blue painter's tape, and we're going to mark out the top of this hinge bracket just so we know where the position is. That way when we loosen this up, we can move it back to the same position and our hood isn't going to be out of alignment. We shouldn't get any weird panel gaps. Run it across the top here. And then we'll do another down the side. And that gives us kind of a nice right angle to where we can get this seated in the exact same position. All you need now is a ratchet with a 13mm deep well socket to get over the stud. We're going to loosen these up, and we want to get them out to just about the end of the threads because the bracket's pretty thick. So as far out as you can get it without completely removing it, and then we'll slide the bracket in from the side, and we should be able to lock it back down. Next, you'll want to bring the bracket around and carefully guide it between the hood and the windshield there. And then we're just going to line up these two slots with the studs that are coming out of the hood. You'll get it underneath the bolt and the little washer that's on there. And you just want to make sure it's seated as tight as possible. And then we'll go ahead and tighten these back up with that 13mm socket. Now we'll just peel our painter's tape off of here. And thankfully the bracket didn't really shift any, but once again, I recommend doing it just in case it does wiggle out of place. There we go. From here, with the hood closed, we can angle the light a little bit since we left that lower bolt loose. And you can also shift them side to side a little bit with these 4-bangers because they have kind of a channeled section in the bracket. But once you're happy with the angle, you can get under here. We're gonna use a 17mm wrench, and there's actually quite a bit of space with this truck, which is nice. So we'll lock that down where we're happy. And then once that's solid, the only other thing you need to adjust is the height, basically where you're angling the beam up or down, and then you can tighten up the screws on the side and you should be good to go. All right, that's all it takes to install these Grimm hood hinge brackets on your F-150. As you can see, this is a really easy job you can do in your driveway with some basic hand tools. So if you guys are interested in picking up a set of these, we'll have a link down in the description that's going to shoot you over to our website. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.